who serves as the president of the Southeast U.S. Korean Chamber of Commerce, a pivotal organization fostering economic ties between the Southeast United States and the Republic of Korea since 1991. With over 15 years of experience, Jay is a key member of APRIO, a CPA-led advisory firm where he specializes in foreign direct investment advisory. Prior to joining APRIO, Jay worked at Deloitte in audit and enterprise risk assurance and held significant roles at Roche Diagnostics USA and Johnson & Johnson, focusing on intercompany consolidation, accounting, and internal controls. Jay is actively engaged in serving on various boards focused on U.S.-Korea relations, international trade, and economic development. He is the leader and founder of APRIO's Korea Desk. Please welcome Jay Kim and his panel session.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. We have a great beginning, and this session we would like to make sure we make it conversational. My panels here, as you can see, are very distinguished and have a long standing of passion to help foreign direct investments, passion to help and bridge the U.S. and the Republic of Korea's alliance and economic development. Without further ado, I won't go through the details of every single individual, but I do want to make sure I give a big applause to start this panel. It is my privilege to be able to moderate this panel one session, and when I was asked to do this, I think it was mission impossible. This is when the music comes, right? It's great distinguished speakers, and having 8 panels in 1 hour, I first wanted to make sure that I give everyone a patience that this will move fast. I do also want to say that I have 2 rules that I've laid out for all the panels. Each one of them are going to be brief and concise to some of the discussion topics we'll have. And second, we hear on a key word, collaboration. I want to start with one quick story in mind and then go into our discussion topic. I myself have been a privilege to this U.S.-Korea relationship for the Southeast. I wouldn't be having my job that I have right now without this development that's happened over the past 10 years, and I probably would not be flourishing doing this without the next 10 years to come. I think it's very important personally, everyone in this room, to realize that this economic collaboration that we talk today is dear and near to the heart of a common goal. Today's real topic of session 1 is to talk about the next 10 years to come. The trends, the outlook, and what is really the core of the topic and the meeting today. So with my first question I have for everyone, and I'll start with Deputy Director General of the Bilateral Economic Affairs from MOFA. What is the K investment trend and outlook? Why is it so important in the next 10 years to come?
Hello, good morning everyone. Thank you, Jay, for your kind introduction. And I'm really happy to be here, to have traveled from Seoul to discuss the economic partnership between Korea and the US, particularly in the Southeast region where we see a lot of activity happening. I'm really glad to hear this morning from state officials that Korean companies are making transformational impact in the region, serving as the economic engine. As this is perfectly aligned with what I'm going to say. So now, in response to Jay's questions, I would like to make 3 key points. First, I would say the current state of trade and investment between Korea and the US is really quite remarkable. Let me share some important figures to illustrate this. Since the Korea-US trade agreement, free trade agreement in 2012, our bilateral trade has increased by about 80%. US export has also greatly increased, with Korea becoming the top export market for US beef and liquefied natural gas. In addition, Korea's investment in the US has grown nearly 4 times, making the US #1 for Korea's foreign direct investment. As you all know, Korean companies are making a big investment in US high-tech industries like electric vehicles, batteries, and semiconductors, contributing to high-quality job creation in the US more than any other country in recent years. So in short, I would say this development highlight the strengthening of our mutually beneficial economic partnership. My second point that I want to make is that the solid alliance between our two countries has enabled such thriving economic partnership. The Korea-US alliance is stronger than ever, and I want to say that this is a result of Korea's strategic decision to enhance its ties with the United States, believing firmly that we are stronger when we are together with the US. Last year, both governments decided to expand this alliance into a global, comprehensive, strategic alliance, broadening our collaboration to include key areas such as economic security, AI, quantum technology, space exploration, and other advanced technologies. I'm confident that this comprehensive alliance will further provide the two countries' solid foundation for future prosperity and security in the coming decade and beyond. Lastly, I look forward to closer communication and cooperation between our government and businesses to ensure a more conducive and predictable environment for business activities. Recent U.S. policies such as IRA and the CHIPS and Science Act have significantly encouraged Korean investment in critical technology sectors in the U.S. During my visit to Kia Motors plant yesterday, I was really impressed by all the various incentives and support programs provided by state government. We hope these incentives and supportive measures will continue, allowing Korean companies to further expand their investment in the U.S. On the other hand, I would emphasize that it is important to ensure the smooth operation of the Korean companies once they enter the market. We are often approached by our Korean companies that they are having difficulties for initial factory setups and local employee training due to lack of professional personnel. So to address this issue, the Korean government is seeking a dedicated visa quota for Korean professionals to facilitate short-term stays in the U.S. I hope the state officials present here today will pay attention to this matter and support our government's efforts. I'll stop here.
That may summarize everything. But I think we got allyship very important. There is future agendas to be addressed. And I take that pause and go over to Kita. And you're in the DC office. Tell us about what the next 10 years of economic development between Korea and the US will look like.
Thank you so much for the introduction. As you mentioned, working in Washington, D.C., so now I don't feel jet lagged, like my co-speakers. So actually, nowadays there are so many Korean companies in this area, especially in Georgia, hundreds of companies. Not only here, but in Washington, D.C. as well, the Korean companies has more presence, which is really good. Actually, it's already she mentioned a very detailed relationship between the U.S. and Korea. I will add something more. So already, I think some of have this beautiful leaflet that we made last year. So we can refer to all those statistics and the Korean companies' investments state by state. So I hope that you can refer to this leaflet afterwards. I would like to talk about more updated version of the statistics. So already she mentioned that over the past 10 years, trade in goods increased by more than 70%. And last year, trade between the two countries reached up to $181 billion, which is a remarkable figure. And Korea became the sixth largest trading partner for the US. And this year, the 2024, very historic moment. So first half of this year, trade between the two has already reached $100 billion. And as many people know that China was the #1 export market for Korea for many years. But this year, the US became the largest export market for Korea in 22 years, which is remarkable news. So there can be many reasons for that, but I think one of the main factor is Korea's increasing investment in the US because always trade follows investment. So if I have to predict 10 years ahead, this trend will continue, I'm so sure, because we'll invest more in the US, then trade will follow. So this trend will be surely. Then as the mutual relations further strengthens, I think the figure will just skyrocket in the future. So let me touch upon the investment, which is more phenomenal. So since 2016, the Korea's investment in the US exceeds $10 billion a year. And it reached up to around $30 billion in 2022. So when you talk about the Korea's investment, we always mention the chips and batteries. But so many sectors of industry in Korea came to the US. Solar panels, large transformers, cables, machinery. I can go on and on if I have elaborated one by one. So again, I think this trend, the investment will also continue. But as you know that there are some concerns really going on, especially this year. We have an election in November, but the rumors or maybe the facts, but anyway, we have some concerns about the policy change that can be possible or not. We have so many questions. So if the policy, especially green transition and the energy policy changes, I think that will affect a lot on the company's decision to invest more in the future. So more than ever, I think the voices from the 6 states here is really important when it comes to, this investment should be very sustainable to contribute to the local economy in 6 states. I'll stop here.
Thank you. Geopolitical risks, I think, are a very integrated part of the investments and obviously in DC, the policies that we make in the future. So without further ado, I want to ask these same questions to the states. What are they seeing in the next 10 years to come? What are some of the outlook that you see for what we call the K investment wave in the Southeast? So I want to start with Tennessee.
안녕하세요. My name is Hee-jung. I'm working for State of Tennessee Department of Economic Development. And thank you so much for having me here. And can I introduce Korean companies in Tennessee a little bit? I can't because I brought it up. Okay. There are more than 30 Korean companies in Tennessee, and 21 of them have announced a new investment since 2017. These companies from various industries like Unitech, which held a completion ceremony in January, as well as LG Electronics, LG Chem, Hyosung Heavy Industries, LG Energy Solution, I'm going to make it fast, LG NX Campus, and SK On. Those 21 companies also $12.7 billion of capital investment and 10,000 jobs creation through new investment, expansions, and joint ventures. Tennessee now became a must-consider state for Korean companies, and over the next 10 years, we expect this trend to be growing. We believe that Korean companies from a wider range of industries, including food processing, pharmaceutical, and R&D. Thank you.
I see a trend with all the companies, they're all future-driven, next-generational. And I think that we see in common with a lot of the collaboration that we're having with the companies investing in the United States. Without further ado, the same question. What do you see on the next 10 years? What are some of the trends and outlook you see? State Alabama.
Well, thank you again. As I said earlier in my remarks, I mean, obviously, there's a huge history of cooperation, collaboration, and partnership between the state of Alabama and the Republic of Korea. Over 110 manufacturing industries called Alabama home. That represents over $10 billion of capital investment and 30,000 jobs. So it is an important and incredibly important partner to the state of Alabama. And in addition, as we talked about trade, record-breaking capital investment and record-breaking trade, as we have $6.6 billion in two-way trade between the state of Alabama and Korea. So that follows the comments that were made earlier. I think in the next 10 years, what we're really looking at is I believe that Alabama and Republic of Korea, the new wave of emerging technology and mobility. It's a sector that's really aligning the automotive sector with the aerospace sector and advanced manufacturing and even bioscience. So we really see that new sector really forming, and we believe that Alabama is in a great position to take advantage of that emerging sector with obviously a very strong automotive presence with over 5 OEMs and one of the top, every year, one of the top 5 production of automotive, the state that leads the production of automotive vehicles. So obviously very, very strong in automotive, but with a huge history in aerospace. And so we feel like those two sectors are aligning into a new mobility sector, and we really see the Korean companies playing a major role in that.
Thank you, Secretary. Again, and I think another common trend, and Secretary, correct me if I'm wrong, but the biggest thing that we want to see in the future is collaborating future industries. What's to come ahead. And you talked about aerospace, you talked about bioscience, which we love to have in the Southeast, right? And so those are trends that I think Korean companies and the US can work together and collaborate. I think I'll go to our next state here.
Florida. My name is Madison Lawson. I manage foreign direct investment at Select Florida, which is the international trade and investment arm of the Florida Department of Commerce. Thank you so much for having us today. We're honored to be here, and I'm honored to be on this panel with such distinguished panelists. My answer is going to be a little bit different because Florida traditionally does not have as much investment from Korean firms as some of our neighboring states, so we really hope to change that. Currently, Florida and Korea have a bilateral trade merchandise of around $2.1 billion. Korea is our 6th largest trading partner in Asia. And regarding foreign direct investment, Korean-owned firms in Florida account for around 400 jobs. But an unknown fact that we kind of encountered in our research, in the last U.S. Census, we actually have nearly 18,000 Korean-born residents in Florida who speak Korean at home. So we really only see this foundation growing to welcome more Korean firms into the state. In fact, Governor DeSantis and some of our team at the Florida Department of Commerce have been able to visit Korea twice in the last 2 years. public and private partners in your market. One of our larger cities in North Florida, Jacksonville, actually has an existing sister city partnership with Changwon City. And the state of Florida has a sister state partnership with Gyeonggi-do Province. Apologies if I mispronounced that. So like I mentioned, although we may have not traditionally had a lot of investment from Korea in the past, we're really trying to lay this foundation to promote more collaboration, especially in some of the industries like aerospace and aviation, which is one of our target sectors, as well as clean technologies, semiconductors, photonics. We do have one of the second largest medical device manufacturing clusters in the state. So some of the target sectors in Florida definitely align with some of those future targets and clusters that are growing in Korea. So we are excited for what's to come.
Thank you. Florida, I know you're not there yet, but the Southeast, I think, will have a ripple effect in terms of how companies locating in the Southeast will go and penetrate with a lot of these states that are affected. So without further ado, Harry, want to talk about South Carolina?
Yeah, so good morning again. South Carolina, so like many of our sister states in the Southeast, we have a very strong automobile mobility sector in South Carolina, employing over 75,000 South Carolinians. And as that industry transforms, we've seen a tremendous amount of investment in that sector like other southern states as well. And also we are very strong in aerospace with some major OEMs in South Carolina, and we see that sector as a certainly strong potential for future development. The CHIPS Act has already been referred to here, and we're very proud that South Carolina had a coalition, SC Nexus, which was recently designated as a tech hub by the U.S. Department of Commerce. This means that we have the full support and partnership of the U.S. Department of Commerce to establish South Carolina as a global leading geography in advanced energy and grid resilience. And as we move away from fossil fuels for the first time in the history of mankind, we think this is a tremendous opportunity for growth. I know that Korea has many strengths in that sector as well, and we look forward to continuing to work with Korean companies that are interested in rapidly commercializing new technologies, new products in the advanced energy space. And finally, life science has already been referred to. That has actually been the fastest growing sector in South Carolina over the past several years, one of our target sectors as well, and we look forward to continuing to work to grow that sector.
Thank you. Georgia, you have a lot to say. Let's make it concise.
Oh yeah, I'll be very quick, thank you. So, Korea, no, I said this already, but I have to say it one more time. Korea has been our top source of international investment for the past 3 years. Also important, total trade between the state of Georgia and Korea totaled almost $16 billion in calendar year 23 and accounted for nearly 10% of our overall trade, which is pretty incredible. In our fiscal year 23, we announced $10 billion in foreign direct investment from Korea and 12,600 jobs. So really important numbers. A lot of this growth has been driven by e-mobility and clean tech from manufacturers such as Hyundai, Kia, Q-Cells, and SK Battery. We think that that's where our continued growth will be in those sectors, and of course additional sectors. Something you might not know about Georgia is when we announce every year our job and investment numbers, about 70 to 75% of that growth is from existing industries in the state and their reinvestment and continued expansions. So we're looking forward to seeing what all of these companies that are new to the state, how they grow in the future and continue to invest here.
Thank you, Georgia. I do want to stress your point when you made that presentation. Georgia and the whole Metro Line has been number 3 in terms of Korean population growth. And I think we missed out some of that, where when investments come and collaboration come, there's a lot of people that come together. And so people is very important, right? And I think maybe to go to our next topic on collaboration. What are states doing or thinking about from a collaboration perspective? And this could be an open question. For people to people, how do we collaborate with in the future in Korean companies and the States? Anything from a collaboration that any of the states want to speak on behalf?
I'll jump in here. I think it really begins at the local level. So these companies are located in communities, and it really is important for the Korean companies and really any company to engage in the community itself. And I think it's important for the community to reach out to those local companies and engage them. So that's where it begins. It begins at that local level, and that year after year after year of collaboration and cooperation and communication at the local level really, I think, pays off in incredible ways. So I would say that it really needs to be done at the local level. The state can support that, but encouraging the communities to engage.
So companies talking to their local communities, and that will further the collaboration.
Right, and I think it's a continuing process as leaders of the companies change. I mean, that's really easy at first, because when a company comes to a community, there's a lot of communication that takes place through construction, through hiring, through onboarding of the company. But once the company gets going, sometimes that communication fades away from both sides. So I would encourage all companies to continue that communication with their local leadership, with the mayors, with the local economic development organizations, way past startup, because that is important to educate those local leaders of the importance of those Korean companies in their community, and it's important for those leaders to understand the importance. And leadership changes, so you've got to continue.
And relationships only happen when you make that effort to communicate.
Have to get thoughtful process.
Great. Anything to add on what are some of the collaboration that we should have with companies in the States? Please.
Yeah, so I've already referred to the Tech Hub and Advanced and Resilient Energy. And I think that's a tremendous opportunity for collaboration and cooperation. You know, the whole purpose of the Tech Hub is to more rapidly commercialize new technologies in the energy space. This is one of the 10 key technologies that the U.S. Department of Commerce and the U.S. Congress has designated as key to the future of the U.S. national security. So the opportunity to rapidly commercialize these technologies, to have the full support of the U.S. government in doing that, will, including the ability to have preference when applying for federal grants, is certainly something I think is a great opportunity for us in the future.
Please, go ahead.
Yeah, I'd just like to add maybe an example that we have currently in Central Florida. There is an area called Neo City. It's south of Orlando. It's a 500-acre manufacturing R&D center for microchips and related suppliers. So something, like I mentioned, we may not have historically had a lot of that Korean investment and maybe not as large of a semiconductor cluster as some other areas. But Neo City actually has a nonprofit organization known as Bridge, which signed an MOU with the Korea Institute of Advancement and Technology, and they actually have a representative based in Korea specific to that industry, specific to that area. We're really trying to drive more investment, more suppliers. There's been federal funds awarded, state funds awarded to build up the workforce for that cluster. So that's just an example of maybe some of the collaboration, both on that workforce education side, but also ways to kind of market that cluster to Korean firms and kind of showcase that industry cluster for us to hopefully collaborate more in the future.
Great. Any other success stories? Great, yes. Please.
No, I was just going to say, so Commissioner Wilson says all the time that when a company locates in Georgia, they are a Georgia company, and that is a long-term relationship that we will build, no matter where the headquarters is. So we take that seriously. But it is vital that a company gets involved at the community level. economic development in Georgia is led by the communities, and so when a company decides it chooses a community to land in, they really do need to become active members of the community to really see the success that they're hoping for. So you can join the local chamber, get to know the community executives, the economic developers. It's the start of a long-term relationship, and so that really, while sometimes the state is the first person, the first point of contact that a company will have as they're considering where to locate, the community is a really critical relationship to have in a long-term success.
That's great. I want to step back a little bit and talk about collaboration. You have, yes, Tennessee as well.
Okay, Commissioner McCarter always mentioned about if the company to succeed, it must fall in love with the communities. So Tennessee is all about growing together. And to make this happen, we hope Korean companies can recognize the cultural difference and understand US regulations and work toward becoming a part of the local communities. So building good relationship with the local stakeholders, including government and residents, is key to ensure that both the companies in Tennessee grow side by side. And actually, every day you say hello to people, they are resident, as well as they represent the communities. So taking good care of your employees is the most important thing to operate business in the United States, I believe.
That's a very good point. Anything else in collaboration?
Yeah, just one thing, and then, to kind of piggyback off of Gwinnett County, Georgia, but in Newberry, South Carolina, where Samsung is located, and it's many other Korean companies, they have a Korea Day, which is a celebration of the whole community, of the partnership that we have and the importance of the Korean companies to that community. Those are the kind of things that I think really foster that collaboration between the companies that are located in our communities and our communities. So that's something that we do as well.
Great. I think working together is very important here, a central topic. I want to go into a little bit about, from Keita's perspective in DC, and also, if you wanted to chime about collaboration also at the national level, or collaboration at the nation-to-nation level. How are things progressing? Why is it important to do so? Are there anything you want to add in terms of collaboration between our countries?
It's actually, for the past few years, under the COVID-19, we experienced severe supply chain disruption. I think we all know, and we experienced for some time. But at the same time, we realized that the sourcing from the reliable partners are really important for businesses. Nowadays, we talk about geopolitics and security, and sometimes I feel that the security matters more than the profit making. Of course, we have to balance between the profit making and the security, but nowadays, security really matters. So in that sense, I think the US and Korea can make a more reliable and resilient supply chain, the global supply chain, based on the trust and partnership on the industrial level as well as on the state level. So, and this kind of collaboration between the two will not only boost the trade and investment between the two, but also I strongly believe that we can maybe explore some opportunities in the other parts of the world as well. So for example, the chips, the US companies design and provide high-tech manufacturing equipment. And Korean companies have high skills to fabricate chips, not only in Korea, but also in the US. So we can think of other example as well, the batteries and EVs. Georgia, we have EV and batteries factories here. But in that sector, already we have joint ventures between the US OEMs and Korean battery companies. They're doing very well. But we all know that the Chinese companies are really competitive in this field, not only within China, but also in the world market. So I think that the collaboration and cooperation between the US companies and the Korean companies, we can make a little bit different landscape in this field as well. So as you know, the US is more domestic market oriented so far, and the Korea is more trade oriented. So we can collaborate each other, and then I strongly believe that we can go beyond our domestic market, especially the US market. Thank you.
Thank you. Want to add anything from a diplomatic perspective on geopolitical risk or anything of that nature?
As you all know, the geopolitical landscape is really becoming increasingly complex, and the challenges such as climate change also are making the world more vulnerable. This makes the business community is really put in the risk of challenging environment, creating a lot of uncertainties. So, yeah, what under this uncertain environment, so what the Korean government, so what the U.S. and Korea committee is to uphold the norms of international order and supporting each other in conducting economic activities within a freer, fairer framework. So this is what both government committed to expand our alliance into a global comprehensive strategic alliance. So if Korea and US are the perfect partner in sharing the universal values such as the democracy and rule of law, and we have a perfect we can create a perfect synergy between U.S. innovation and Korea's manufacturing capabilities. So I think, in summary, I think what we have to do in this increasingly complex world, that we still committed to uphold the rule of law in the international system, but by working together with like-minded countries like the U.S. and Korea. Thank you.
Great, thank you. We have about 10 minutes or so, and I wanted to give a chance for everyone to give just a few words, and then describe why you think those few words are very important as your closing remarks. As you think about that, I wanted to stress that collaboration, whether it's international trade, we talked about trade, whether it's investment, whether it's people, I think we always need that platform to go to. And I'm very grateful that we have a platform now to continuously communicate, to continuously bring issues together, not as one, but together. I think it's very important. And the impact for us, for everyone, and including me, is prosperity, right? We all have joint prosperity when we work together. And we hope that the Southeast US is working together with these Korean companies that are coming here. I had a chance for a couple of few words to give a good remarks on final thoughts for the audience. We'll start with, you want to start with Tennessee or anyone else? Alabama? Please. Yes, okay.
Final thoughts, and again, the collaboration and understanding. I think one of the really important things is for local leaders and state and local leaders to travel to Korea. And I hear, that throughout the state remarks, that these governors and commerce leaders are traveling. Also the local leaders, again, focusing on that. These companies are in a community. Having those local leaders travel to Korea and on a consistent basis, getting those mayors, city councilmen, EDO leaders to Korea, because it is a whole different perspective that you see your Korean companies. When you see them in your communities, when you see them in your states, that's one thing. But when you travel to Ulsan or Daegu or Seoul and you see them in their communities, I think that that is an incredible opportunity for understanding and a good basis for future partnerships.
Go ahead.
I'll go next. I really like the term shared prosperity or shared advantages. I'll speak on that because last year we announced an investment by Korean firm Low Carbon Hydrogen to invest in Florida's first hydrogen fuel plant in Central Florida. Now, I know renewable energies is huge. Anything related to the CHIPS Act it's not just prosperity for the U.S., it's prosperity for other markets, it's prosperity for Korea. So by working together on things such as renewable energy or technology of the future, it's going to result in these wonderful projects. So we're really excited about this hydrogen plant. Not only is it going to be fuel used for a multitude of transportation, but one of the key elements is it's going to be used for spacecraft. So again, kind of focusing on the space industry of the future, that shared prosperity is something that we're very excited and excited to welcome new Korean firms into the state.
South Carolina.
Yeah, so I think just one of the key words I think has come out so much is communication. This is very anecdotal, but we had a company in South Carolina, Nephron Pharmaceuticals, that decided to manufacture nitrile gloves. This was post-COVID, as we experienced the tremendous shortfalls we had in PPE. And so they wanted to get this nitrile glove operation up very quickly. The equipment that was used to manufacture it was actually made in Korea. And through arrangements that were made through the Korean government, our office in Seoul, our federal delegation in Washington, D.C., working with our local communities, we got the clearance from the Korean government to load this equipment onto a specially equipped cargo plane that took off from the Seoul airport, landed in Columbia, South Carolina, and delivered the equipment so that they could start operation on time and on schedule and on budget. That's the kind of work that we can do together to accomplish our mutual advantageous goals.
Georgia.
Yeah, I'll just say, the Korean market is obviously incredibly important to Georgia, and we take a long-term approach to the relationship building that we've done there. As we look at celebrating the 40th anniversary of our Korea office next year, we're excited to continue building relationships with the Korean companies that have already invested and located here, and we look forward to meeting new companies and building new relationships with companies that might not yet be a Georgia company, but who are considering coming here. So, thank you.
Tennessee.
Actually, I didn't really think about the few words. You made me nervous, but I would like to have some kind of interest in the state of Tennessee. State of Tennessee is so ready for your, interest, and also ready for cooperate to your, needs, everything. So, it is my last time, so I would like to introduce my team, Tennessee, number 13. Please say hello. And if you have any kind of question, any kind of need, please contact us. We'll be there. Thank you.
Yes, everyone will have time with all the states, and please, Hee-jung, you come from Seoul, we got another person from Seoul. I think this is a great time to connect and be able to meet and talk about, be honest talk about what are things that businesses need, what are things that states would like to have in the future, and talk about the next 10 years, and talk about what's needed to be successful. I would probably close on one remarks, and I think I had to mention, a lot of the companies, Korean companies that I help with and get a lot of feedback is about people development and how can we communicate better, how can we collaborate better, especially in manufacturing where in the southeast area, there's a lot of people that needs to collaborate technically, in terms of learning from each other. Also, what does workforce look like in the US versus Korea? We have a very different culture. There's also talk about people coming in. You know, we have a visa issue sometimes, and we need that fostering of people coming in and exchanging better and better. Otherwise, the industry that we create in the Southeast, this is the start of the wave, right? We want this wave to go on for the next 10 years and 20 years, and only that prosperity, shared prosperity, is when companies become successful. Who makes companies successful is the people, the collaborative people, that we don't have cultural conflict, that we have cultural prosperity, we don't have inefficiency, we have efficiencies in businesses. And I hope that this platform will continuously talk about that talk. And I know we have Kotra doing one-on-one sessions, and please engage so that we can make our lives and share prosperity better and better. Yes, final thoughts.
So, he mentioned the collaboration between people, so taking this opportunity, I would like to talk about the Partner with the Korea Act. I'm a DC person, so, some might be familiar with this bill, but some might not. So this Partner with the Korea Act is bill proposing 15,000 visa quota for Korean skilled workers, which is really important for Korean business people. So this bill was proposed in the Congress for the past 12 years, but US Congress didn't approve it so far. So, at some point, Korean companies need to bring some skilled workers from headquarters so that they can share the knowledge, information, and know-hows with American workers here. So, I just continue meeting with the staffers for this matter, but at the Congress, the visa itself is really sensitive because they relate with the immigration issue. But here, I would like to emphasize that this is not the immigration issue because under this special visa category E4, we cannot apply for the green card. So the Korean skilled workers come to here, just share know-hows, and maybe 1 year or 2 years after, they just go back to Korea. So I would like to name this like not immigration, but this is competitiveness issue for the American workers and American manufacturing industry. So I really hope that the 6 states really important. Then if you help us, then we can move it and then we can get it passed. Thank you.
That's it, I think. We are 2 minutes ahead of schedule, which I'm very glad my Mission Impossible made it. I would probably just end that the audiences have time, so please connect with them and please go ahead and make sure that you use this time. This time, if you can be seated back, and I'll introduce to our next panel,